Joining us here on Newsmax Now is correspondent Todd Wood. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having me, Miranda. Thank you.
So yesterday we were talking about the New York Stock Exchange halted, trading completely halted for almost 4 hours due to a technical glitch. An anonymous hacking group sent out a very cryptic tweet the night before. It read this: "Wonder if tomorrow is going to be bad for Wall Street. We can only hope." What do you make of this?
I don't think we really know the full story yet. I know the stock exchange officials are saying it was a technical issue and that there was no cyber breach, but the circumstances are just a little too troubling. I'm not sure that's the case. I mean, we've had so many attacks recently that have been extremely serious, and the financial system is one that we know our adversaries are targeting. I mean, when the Russian spies were arrested last year, I believe they were trying to get information on how securities are traded on the exchange. So this is extremely troubling, and I don't think we know really what happened yet.
And the stock exchange wasn't the only sector to have a tech issue yesterday. The Wall Street Journal and United Airlines, I know you used to fly planes, both had issues around the same time yesterday. Seemed a little suspicious to a lot of people. What are your thoughts?
If you think about it, take a step back and look at what was targeted yesterday. It was the media, our transportation system, and then our financial system. I mean, this could be a dry run to see how vulnerable we are. We know we have a lot of vulnerabilities throughout the system, but those are things that affect everyday Americans and could significantly affect our economy. So there seems to be just a level of incompetence across the board, from the federal government to private industry, that are really not dealing with this problem or staying ahead of it. And that's what worries me, is what's coming down the pike in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it is really troubling when you think that they were able to halt an entire fleet and to shut down the New York Stock Exchange for that long. We're not talking a few minutes.
Right. No, and that's, investors really need to think about how their portfolio is structured. I mean, if the system goes down for weeks or months at a time and you can't get your money out, you need to have other assets. I mean, we're in a period of where we're depending on a lot of computers, and maybe it's time to think about real estate, precious metals, other things where you can get access to your funds, or just plain cash. I know several high-profile money managers have said, hold cash at this point.
And do you think, I mean, that's what I'm going to ask you. Do you think people are going to change the way they conduct themselves now in light of what just happened?
I think people really should. I mean, you should plan for look at what's happening around the world. We have ISIS, we have China, we have North Korea, we have Russia, we have all these issues happening, multiple major cyber attacks where the entire federal government and American security is really challenged, and people should think about that and how they plan for the future. And if there's an issue with our financial system, you need to be able to survive. And that's what people should think about and talk to their advisors about.
We also want to talk about what's going on in China with the stock market there. Kind of a crash the other day. What's the reaction been?
Well, look, I mean, China has built their economy on, a devalued currency where they exported to build up huge mountains of cash. I mean, that model is not really working anymore because there's lower cost producers around the world. They have a real problem with their population where they have to continue growing to keep people happy. They kind of have a social construct similar to Russia that, give us power, give up your civil liberties, and we will make you rich. And they can't continue to hold up their end of the bargain. And so that's part of it. And, the other part is they don't have a free market. I mean, look at what's going on. They're manipulating and propping up the market. So and they're trying to be a reserve currency. So think about that. I mean, would you want to have a reserve currency where the government openly manipulates markets? I mean, there's other markets besides equities. There's bonds, there's foreign exchange. So, that's something that we really need to think about before we put them in the UN special drawing rights.
All right, Todd Wood, thank you so much for your insight. We really do appreciate it. And coming up, we'll have more interesting topics to discuss, including the very latest going on with Donald Trump. That's all coming up next during our roundtable.